And today's is going to be on YouTube too. As soon as I have a chance to put it up there.
Any other classes?
I do.
You do? You record them all?
I record 6 periods. Well, for the Algebra 1, I record the 3 of them and then use the one that I like the most. Yeah.
Do you have all the notes that I'm trying to do?
If I do there with the warm-ups,
Okay.
back there.
I was just wondering.
Okay, so today we're going to look at about graphing. Walker, shush.
That one's definitely not going on YouTube.
Put that one on the
Graphing quadratics is what we're going to look at today. So we're going to take those things that we were solving for, and now we're going to learn how to graph them on an XY axis.
Yeah, this is not going to be good.
It's not that bad.
It's going to be ugly.
It's not that bad, I promise you.
Are you recording now?
Yeah. So, a quadratic equation would be something that looks like, let's say, y equals 2x squared plus 4x minus 3. So that's an example of a quadratic equation. So what we were dealing with last chapter was all of that 2x squared plus 4x minus 3 equal to 0. But now we're going to look at it equal to y, and we're going to use that in order to graph it. Now there's two ways you can go about this. You can just start putting in points and seeing for each x point where the y point would be. But to make your life easier, there's a couple things you need to do first. So here, the number that's in front of x squared, this is a. The number that's in front of plane x, that's b. And the number without an x, that's c. You guys remember this from last chapter?
Yeah.
kind of.
Okay. So here are your steps to make this as easy as possible. Steps to make your life easier.
Make my life harder.
No, this is honestly going to make your life easier. This is the easiest way I've found to teach how to do this. So what you're going to do first, step number 1, find negative b over 2a. So that's why I listed them as a, b, and c. First thing you want to find out is what is negative b over 2a.
4 over 2 times 2. 4.
So negative 4 over 4, which is what? Like a million? Negative 1. Okay, cool. Step number 2. Make a table of 7 values with negative b over 2a in the middle. I heard none of what you just said. It was all mumbling. Okay.
I'm sorry.
So how this is going to make your life easier is this is how you can graph it so that you have more than likely nice, neat whole number values to deal with. You won't have to deal with any fractions.
Wouldn't it be easier if we just did middle?
You can choose that, sure. And if you're quiet in class, I won't bug you. So our number here, this negative 1, this needs to go in the middle, and we're doing 7 values. So we're going to do 3 values that are less than negative 1, and 3 values that are greater than negative 1. Let me move that up so you can see it better. There we go. So I'm putting a table of 7 values, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 values. And I'm putting negative b over 2a, which we just found to be negative 1, in the middle. All right? Because it's like the fourth one down. 1, 2, there's 3 on this side, 3 on that side. Yep, they are fancy. They make them with lines now. Now, I'm going to go 3 values down from negative 1 and 3 values up from negative 1. So this is going to be 0, 1, and 2. Negative 2, negative 3, negative 4. Now, again, here's how you can make your life easier. Step number 3. You only need to use 4 of these. So first, I'm going to put the one that's in the middle in for x in that equation we started with. Alright? So the equation we started with was y is equal to 2 times x squared plus 4 times x minus 3. What I'm going to put in for x first is what negative 1 to find out what that's going to be. And then I'm going to put in the other values, and I'm going to use those. But let's do one thing at a time here, all right? So first I'm going to put the negative 1 in for x. So negative 1, negative 1. There's not another negative 1. So that's going to be 2 times, what's negative 1 squared, anybody?
-2.
Hmm. Negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 1, right?
That's what I said first.
I didn't hear you, mumbler. And then you're going to do plus whatever 4 times negative 1 in, which is negative 4. And then minus 3. Okay. Bear with me.
I'm trying.
Bear with me.
First one, the best one.
So this is 2 times 1 is 2. What's 2 plus negative 4? Uh-huh. Negative 2. And negative 2 minus 3 is?
Negative 5 is
2 minus 4 is negative 2. And then negative 2 minus 3 is negative 5.
Wait, I'm confused when you started number 3.
Okay. So step number 3 is you only need to use 4 of these values, but I'm using this one first. So I'm putting negative 1 in place of x into the equation. The equation was 2x squared plus 4x minus 3.
More time. You're filling in the numbers.
And so if I put negative 1 in for x, negative 1...
So what if I put in 0
Okay.
for x?
So that means over here to the table, I'm going to put a negative 5. So one point that you know is on the graph is negative 1, negative 5.
So what if I put 0 in?
So let's try that. If you put 0 in, y would be equal to 2 times 0 squared plus 4 times 0.
negative 3.
Now, here's the thing that's really special about quadratics, and this is why you only need to do 4 of those 7 values. This right here is something known as the vertex, that negative b over 2a. We'll talk more about that next week. But for right now, all you need to know is that if I go 1 away from it in this direction, whatever that y value is the same as the y value that's 1 away in the other direction. This is also negative 3.
So I would negative.
And whatever negative 1 is, that's what negative 3 is going to be, because that's 2 away from the vertex here, 2 away from the vertex here. So like these two values are the same. So now the next one that we would do is y equals
Negative 1.
2 times positive 1 squared plus 4 times positive 1 minus 3.
That's a lot of work.
So positive 1 squared is, wait, sorry, Devin?
You can do it in your head though.
Yeah, positive 1 squared is 1
1.
times 2 is 2. 2 plus 4 is 6.
6 times 1 is 6.
No, minus 3.
6 minus 3.
Okay, so that means you're going to put a 3 here and a 3 here. Now, if you'll notice, this doesn't have a very good pattern as far as how much it's increasing. It goes up 2, and then it goes up 6. So it's not just going to go up another 6 for these. You have to actually find out what it is.
It goes up like 8 or something.
Well, let's find out.
Okay, let's
So next you're going to do y is equal to 2 times 2 squared. No, this is...
No, we haven't. I accidentally counted wrong.
Okay. So 2 squared is like a million.
Yeah. 4.
Okay. 4 times 2 is
8
plus 8 is
plus 8. Oh, 16.
minus 3 is
13. Yeah.
30.
now we're going to use this table of values
Oh,
to graph it.
So thought we already did 4, so why do we have to do them all?
No, -1 was the first one, then 0, then 1, then 2. That's 4 values.
Oh.
Oh, but you can figure them all
This was the
out
first one.
next to it just one.
Second, third,
Oh, so either way you have to
fourth.
fill the table.
Yeah, you have to fill out the whole table, but you don't have to do all 7 values to fill the table out. You only have to do 4 of the values. Okay? Now, in order to graph this, is anybody still writing down what's on the board? Okay, I'll wait a second. In order to graph this, what you're going to do is just plot those 7 points, and then they're going to connect in the shape of something called a parabola. Don't be afraid of that word.
Oh, I know what that is.
Okay. It's a bendy thing. Looks like a U. Okay. Right? Okay, great, good. Glad to know you are in no means telling me something that you don't actually know.
What?
Hmm?
I don't have no clue.
I know. That's what I said. Essentially, that you didn't know what it was.
I know it is for you.
Great, good. Thank you for giving my definition back to me.
It's something bendy new.
All right. So here, and I'll explain, if you guys want me to, I'll explain where parabolas come in.
Not really if we don't need them.
I don't have graph paper.
Okay, I set some graph paper on the desk next to Kenna.
I'm really thirsty in this.
I'm aware. If somebody were to come in right now and ask me if anybody in this room was thirsty, I would say absolutely Walker is. Settle down.
You're so nice. Maybe they'd go get their drink.
Okay,
Like he's thirsty though.
so graphing these points here. The first one I'm going to graph is the one that's in the middle of the vertex. So I'm going to go -1, -5, which means from 0, 0, left 1, down 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Hold on.
What are we doing?
I'm graphing these points. So I first graphed -1, -5.
Why is that one first?
Just because everything is like goes around that point. You could graph them in any order you want to. If you want to graph -4, 13 first, that's fine. If you want to graph -3, 3 first, that's fine too. Doesn't matter. Okay, and then the next one is 1, 2, 3, 2, 3. And then I'm going to graph that as 1, 3 as well. And then do I have space for 13 here? 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I do.
Wait, so I can start off with -4, 13.
Yeah, you can start wherever you want to. It doesn't matter. I have a tendency to start with the vertex just because then it's easier for me to graph things, but you can graph them in whatever order you want to.
Alright.
Then that's fine. If you don't have enough for 13, you don't have enough for 13.
That's a V, not a U.
No,
How
actually
many
it's a
of
U.
those do you have to do to graph it?
You only have to do enough so that you, like, if on your paper, -3, 13 and +3, 13 didn't show up, or +2, 13, sorry. If these didn't show up, then you, just so long as you have enough to graph 4 or 5 points, you're okay.
It looks totally different than yours.
Did you graph the points in the right places?
Yeah.
Then it should look exactly the same. I don't know why. I'd have to look at it in a second and I can tell you, but okay. So now connecting these points, don't connect them as straight lines because it's not actually a straight line. If you were to go and look at each of these individual points in between these, you would see that it doesn't go straight from here to here. It curves as it goes up. So don't graph it as straight lines. It curves. And then there. That's something called a parabola. Okay. You can do that.
Yeah, it does look like
I have a
Okay.
double
Do you think it
U
looks
in my
like a U?
name.
Mhm.
but I have a double
Wow.
U.
Because there's a curve at the bottom.
Yeah, but do you know the U
A
and
W looks like a
R?
double V.
Yeah, a V doesn't have a curve.
Yeah, but
U.
U. Like,
It looks like
okay,
a-
no, U is,
Oh
like,
my gosh.
I don't even know how to explain it. It's just like a diff, you know?
Okay.
And a B is not, but that is a B.
Okay.
It doesn't have a
I'm not
point.
gonna argue with you.
Serious.
I'm not arguing with you,
It
Ken.
doesn't have a point.
You're arguing with no one right now. All right. So, as far as your assignment for today, I would love to go through the first few with you, or even the whole thing if everybody's paying attention.
I'd like to get a drink.
You can go get a drink now.
That's a B to U.
Thank
That's a B.
you. Okay.
Why do you give me this?
Mr. Taft.
You're not arguing with anybody right now.
Mine looks like
I
everything
can't
else.
say it. I've got a cat.
Did you grab the points in the right places?
Wow.
Mine looks
So,
You can have
let me
one
show me where the points are.
God.
So, -1, -5. Where's that one at?
-1.
No, that's -5, -1. You go left or right first, and then up or down.
What?
-1 is left 1, -5 is down 5. So when you're looking at the points, the first number is how much left or right, the second number is how much up or down. So hold it, -1,
Do we do
and then down 5.
My son is.
No, we took a test yesterday.
No, but no. Did we do anything, or is this on the assignment?
Oh, that particular one?
Yeah.
No, if I were thinking, I would have made it one that was on the assignment. So what you can do is if you just turn it over, you can just like say that that side is the notes and the other side starts the assignment. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then on the assignment itself, I'm going to go through how to fill this out, and we'll go from there. Okay. You ready? No, you're not? Are you still having an argument with nobody? Okay, I think you are. Alright, so Kyle, we're looking at number 1 here. Alright, so if there's no plane x, you can rewrite this as saying it's the same as x squared plus 0x minus 1. And there's a reason I want to do that, because the first step in your notes that I told you to do was find -b over 2a, right? So in this case, a is equal to what?
But what if it's already a
X.
negative?
Then you would do negative.
So it's just positive.
Yeah. B is 0. And what's C?
1.
Close?
1.
Close?
Zero.
-1.
1.
Wait. What?
-1.
1 over.
Okay, the reason I'm doing this is I need to first, your notes, look at the notes. First step I told you to
I
do,
already pulled them away, dude.
find -b over 2a. Right? So we're finding out what -b over 2a is first. So b is 0, so it's going to be -0 over 2 times 1.
How do you realize you're still
Yeah.
recording this?
Yeah,
Oh.
Where'd you get the 2 from?
it's from the equation. It's from what I told you to put down in your notes that you should be using to do this, because I don't expect you guys to have it memorized already.
Oh, Jesus. Algebra you get it,
It's part of the equation.
There. That's where I get it too.
dude. That's just weird, though. You just magically make it appear.
No, there's a reason that it's there, but in order to explain the reason that's there, I...
You made 2 for every problem?
Yeah.
This is like super apples.
Alright. So, what you're going to put in the middle here, -0 over 2. So this is going to be 0 over 2, which is just 0.
There you
What
go.
happened to the
You're
negative?
getting it, dude.
It's
-0 is the same thing as 0. So you don't have to have it there. Does that make sense, Maddie?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, on my table here, I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Shouldn't it be
So-
negative 2?
It's -0 over 2 times +1.
Wait, it's positive 1?
Well, because the number that's in front of x squared is 1.
Yeah.
You're thinking about c, which is
Yeah.
-1.
My bad.
Are you kind of, sort of? All right. Now, the number I'm going to put in the middle is this one. This 0 is going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 lines down. And then I'm going to go 3 up from 0. So 1, 2, and 3. And 3 down from 0. -1, -2, and -3. Gentlemen, If you're not going to pay attention or follow along, just don't be talking. All right. Now, you want to fill in these values for what y would be if you put this in for x. So if I put 0 in for x, y is going to be equal to 0 squared minus 1. 0 squared is 0 times 0, which is what?
Negative 1. That's the answer.
Yeah, and 0 minus 1 is negative 1.
There you go. And the negative 1 squared is 1 and negative 1.
Okay, so what is the y value for negative 1 then?
0.
Okay, you're right.
0.
Okay. And if
So
this one is 0, this one is 0 as well.
And then 2.
So,
The square root of 2 is 2. No, it's 1 and a half.
It'd be,
4.
it'd be 3, yeah.
3 times 3 is 9.
no, it's not doing a square root. You're squaring it. 2 squared is 4, minus 1 is
2 times 2.
Why is she checking 1?
So then the next
Because
one would be 8.
that's what the equation
So
says.
it's 8.
Well, I don't
X.
get where you're getting this equation.
and I'm trying to explain it, but you keep like going off like not like every time I try to explain it, you interrupt me. So I'm kind of done doing that.
But where do you get the equation from?
Your nose.
Here.
Look, I'm so confused.
Okay.
Can you help me?
I
understand.
I've been
that.
trying to.
Template. You have to write that down and plug everything in.
Yeah.
You have to use the numbers that they gave you, and you have to plug them into the equation. So you're saying there's going to be a 2? Yes, on every single damn thing you do. Like a million, there'd be a 2 in there?
To find the middle point, yeah.
Day and there'll be a 2 in there. Oh, okay. So it's just part of the equation. It's just there.
Oh my god.
Alright, I get you now, dude. Okay. I got you. So now you got to square 3. So 3 times 3 is 9, minus 1,
6
right?
minus 1.
3 squared isn't 6.
It's 9.
9 minus 1 is 8.
I thought we were doing negative 3.
Oh, I got it.
Even if it's negative 3, negative 3 squared is positive 9.
3 times 3, right?
Is 9.
Oh, I was thinking plus.
I know. You were thinking 3. Yeah. I know.
Yeah, I want to do the next one too.
Okay, well, we have to graph this now.
I don't like that word.
Then don't. I don't care. Alright, so one thing I like about using the graph paper is that you can make a bunch of little graphs. You don't have to make one big graph and try and put them all on that. So I'm just making a little graph up in the corner here. And then graphing these. Well, okay. So long as you have enough to get the bottom of it, of whatever you think it's a V or a U, then you're fine. If one point ends up going off the graph, that is not a huge deal. Okay?
Okay.
That's what I say. Alright, now, the first point I'm going to graph, like you could graph however you want to. Any order you want. Just make sure that the first number is the left or right, and the second number is the up or down. So I'm going to go left 3, and up 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then negative 2, 3. Negative 1, 0.
Then are you done after you graph?
Yeah.
Why can't you draw a straight line? Is that just part of the equation too?
It's not a straight line, though.
But no, like you curved yours.
Yeah, because that's how it is. Kyle, do me a favor. Throw something in the air.
What?
Throw something in the air.
I'll pick you up.
Throw something in the air. No. Throw it up. Like, throw your pencil up in the air.
I don't want to hit the roof.
Then don't throw it that hard. Just throw your pencil in the air. Great. Was that a straight line?
Kind of, that was straight line.
No, it didn't.
It was straight all the way down.
That's how it went.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't fall.
Throw it straight up.
That's no, it's not straight up.
So
Try it
it's
again.
Part, but my question is, it's just part of the equation.
Yeah, but that's what this is. This is how your pencil went up. It went up, curved, and then came back down. That's where these are used, because you haven't asked that yet.
But
Anything
how do
that's
you get that?
anything that's thrown up in the air follows that path.
This is starting to get.
So we can use this to find like the route or something.
Yeah, or if you launched a rocket, you could find out where it's going to be because it's going to follow that path.
Oh,
It
okay.
doesn't make
And it's always gonna look like that, pretty much.
Uh-huh.
Oh. Okay. But don't rockets just shoot straight up?
No.
Doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out.
Kyle, everything that launches on the planet, as soon as it leaves where it launches from, follows a curved path, not a straight one.
Can you like build like a super machine, like a super apple that will shoot straight?
Yeah. Okay. Now,
Okay, kind of just like one.
okay. So first thing you have to do, I'm going to rewrite this so that it's 2x squared plus 0x plus 3.
Okay, so A is 2,
A is 2.
B is 0, and C is 3.
First thing you have to find is negative b over 2a, which in this case is negative 0 over 2 times 2, which is 0 over 4, which is 0. So that means that when you draw your table of 7 values, the value that's in the middle will be 0. And the reason that you're doing this is because if you're not putting that in the middle, then you have to find out all 7 of them. If you put 0 in the middle, you only have to find out 4, because 3 of them reflect over 0. They're symmetric, is the word for it.
Oh, okay.
Alright, so x, y,
So you gotta go negative 3, 2, 1, 0, 1.
and then when you're substituting values in, you get to choose, like, you put 0 in and you get what you get. So, like, 2 times 0 squared is 0,
Yep.
and then plus 3 is
3.
great. So, this is 3. Ta-da! Now, if you put the next one in, you can choose if you want to put in negative 1 or positive 1.
Let's go positive.
Great. I would suggest using the positives whenever you possibly can. So if you put positive 1 in for x, 1 squared is...
1.
Wait, you do the square first. Hold on. Maddie, you do the square first. So 1 squared is 1, and then you times by 2?
1, 2.
You don't do 2 times 1 squared. You do the square first.
Plus 0 plus 3. That'd be 5.
So square first. Exponents first. In PEMDAS, e comes before m. So you're going to do 1 squared, which is
1,
1, times 2 is,
2,
plus 3 is,
5. And the one above that will be negative 5.
no.
Just positive 5.
Yep.
And
Now if you put 2 in, 2 squared is,
then 2.
no.
4,
Times 2 is,
8.
plus 3 is,
11.
now 3 is going to be a way bigger value. So if you can only end up graphing from negative 2 to 2, that's fine. So here,
That's 21.
9 times 2 is 20.
Yeah, 21.
3 squared is 9, times 2 is 18, plus 3 is 21. You do the square first, and then you multiply. Alright?
Oh man, this is a big graph.
Yeah, and so if you cannot fit negative 321 or positive 321, that's fine. So long as you can fit the other values.
What if I can't fit the 11?
Did you already draw your x, y, x? Draw it in so that you can fit the 11. Like, here's what you can do to make this different. Kenna, do you need to have any negative values on this? Like any negative y values?
No.
Okay, so here's how I'm going to draw this. I'm going to move my y-axis to be down like here, and then I'm going to put my x-axis here so that I don't have to have it equal top and bottom. Then when I'm graphing this, I'm going to put 0, 3, 1, 5, negative 1, 5, and then 2, 11, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and negative 2, 11, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, and then I'm going to connect these, and then I'm going to go over number 3 with you in just a second. So don't freak out if you're trying to do number 3 on your own. Hold on a second, I'll go over it with you. If you want to, you can look at 8 and 9. If you're trying to do stuff on your own, that's fine. Or 5. 3, 4, 6, yeah. 3,
Well,
4,
you can
6.
plug in x, right?
Yeah, but you need to know where that A and B are. And so in order to do that, you need to FOIL it out. And I'm going to show you how to do that right now. Okay. So for number 3, you have to do x minus 1 times x minus 1, because that's what x minus 1 squared means. No. And then this is going to be minus 1. Here, because you have two things in the parentheses, you have to FOIL it out. So this is x squared minus 1x minus 1x. I know we did this a while ago, didn't we? Plus 1 minus 1. And the minus 1 came down because it's what was at the edge. Maddie, did that confuse you?
Where did the plus
Okay.
1 come from?
So here, forget about the minus 1 that's there for just a second. So what I'm doing is first, outer, inner, last. Remember that?
Oh, yep.
So first times first is x squared. Outside times outside is minus 1x. Inside times inside is minus 1x. And then last times last, negative 1 times negative 1 is plus 1.
Okay, and then you just carry the...
And then I carried the minus 1 down from the equation negatives.
Okay.
Okay? Now, I'm going to combine some like terms here in order so that I can find out what b and
So
A
x
and C are.
squared times 2x squared is negative 2x squared.
so x squared minus 2x, and then the plus 1 and the minus 1 goes away. You with me so far?
But wouldn't negative 2 isn't squared before?
No. Negative x minus x is negative 2x. The x doesn't change when you're adding.
Do you have to put plus 0?
No, I'm putting it there just so that you can make sure that you know what a means here. You do not have to put plus 0 though. Because plus 0,
So A is x.
a is, well, what number is in front of it?
1.
A is 1. B is,
Negative 2. Or
C is 0. So, negative 2 over 2 times 1, because it's negative b. B is negative 2, so it's negative 2 over 2a, so it's 2 times 1. So, what happens to that negative 2?
Positive.
So 2 over 2.
1.
Please ask if you're confused.
It's 1.
Which part? Okay. So what I needed to do is I had this thing in parentheses squared. And whenever you have something squared, it means you're multiplying it by itself. Right? Okay. So that means I was doing x minus 1 times itself, which is x minus 1. Okay. Do you remember when we were foiling a few weeks back? So here I did first, outer, inner, last. So first times first is x squared. Outside times outside is minus 1x. Inside times inside is minus 1x. And then last times last is plus 1. You see where that came from?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Now I combined like terms, and I also had this minus 1 from right there. That just came down. So now I have x squared, nothing combines with it through addition. Minus x is minus 2x. And then plus 1 minus 1 is plus 0. Does that make any more sense, Rose?
Yeah.
Alright. Now, my number that's going to go in the middle this time isn't 0, it's 1. So in the middle, on the fourth line down, 1, 2, 3, 4, is 1. You're going to go 3 values up from there, value down from there. With me? Where's that?
1, 2, 3.
Walker. Where's your understanding? Okay. This one is the one in the middle. So that's the one you're going to put in first. So, if you're looking at that, if you put 1 in for x, you can either use the original equation, or you can use the new one that we made to find a, b, and c.
1 squared.
1 minus 2 times 1?
Would it be negative 1?
No. So like, no matter where you put it, if you're using this one, if you put 1 in, this would be 1 minus 1, quantity squared minus 1. So if you're doing this one,
Oh, you go back to that equation? You're not
you can do either one.
Oh.
You can do this one too if you want to. 1 squared minus 2 times 1 plus 0. So 1 squared is 1, minus 2 is negative 1. So negative 1 goes right there.
I said that was -1 and somebody said no.
Oh, I thought you meant for 1 square.
Oh
I'm sorry.
no, I was
I
talking about the
misunderstood.
answer.
I misunderstood.
Okay.
If you put 2 in, what would you get back out?
The numbers don't line up. You have to do all of them.
No, you don't. Not if you're putting 1 in the middle. Because if you put 2 in here, or over here, 2 squared is 4.
-1.
Okay, 4 minus 2 times 2? So 4 minus 4 is... Okay. If you put 0 in, you'd get the same thing. Okay. Would you think it's easier to do -1 or +3? I would think it's easier to do 3. 2 squared.
But how does -1 line up with 3?
Because if you were to put -1 in here, you would get -1 squared minus 2 times -1
So it's gonna be 1
minus. So
or
this
1
is,
plus 2. Okay, I get it. So
which
it
is
equals
3. And if you put 3 in, you get 3 squared minus 2 times 3. 9 minus 6. 3.
Whoa, that's weird.
So even if 0 isn't the center point, it still ends up being the same. So 0 and 2 give the same answers. -1 and +3 give the same answers.
Are you doing, okay, like
The last one's 8.
4? Would you do 4 minus 1 or -1 squared minus 4?
No, you do parentheses first. So order of operations.
Okay.
So is the last one 8 then?
Parentheses.
4 minus 1, 3.
Good. Squared exponents.
So 9.
Minus 1 is.
8? Okay.
And if you were to put -2 in, you would get the same thing. Okay. We're going to continue this tomorrow, so I don't expect you guys to do too much of this. Well, maybe almost. If you got any of this done on your own tonight, I would be a happy teacher. John. If you got none of it done on your own tonight, I would not be an angry teacher.
Like, I understand, like, I see how
It is. You're in big kid math, man. We've got more, like, I'm sorry to say, it's not going to be easier until the end of the year. You don't have to. I'm not going to force you to.
So what if, like, you do really bad on the end of the year, like really low in my score?
There's nothing to do. What math class you take next year is mine.
Mr. Taft,
Yeah.
And what, how many
for a
hikes
second,
you
real
gonna
quick.
You'll take geometry next week.
I don't get the graphic.
Okay. So let's look at the graphic for this thing. You don't have actually have an option for that.
No, do you have to take machine a year?
No.
Oh, no, that's what I said.
I thought
You don't have to. To graduate, we require 3 math classes. But if you want to go to college, it is very much recommended that you take a math class your senior year.
yeah. Well, actually, isn't it for people that take like 1.5 and 0.5? They don't count as
No, they do.
They do?
0.5 does. It's pre-algebra. 1.5 counts as a math
Can't
credit.
you just say, like, okay, Kyle did
Thought I did.
alright, he barely passed, so I'm just gonna put him out in pre-algebra. And then you'll have
No.
him again.
No, I cannot.
11, please.
No, I cannot.
Alright.
Sorry. So the first point that I'm going to do here is -2, 8. So from 0, 0, I'm going to go left 2, so 1, 2, and then up 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah, Mr. Brown told me not to do math class.
I'm not going to force you.
I know what it is.
Okay, the next point is -1, 3.
Okay, I get it now. Thank you, Mr. Taft.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's just completely opposite on the other side.
Yeah. It's symmetric. So,
Yeah.
like if you know this point is here, that point's there.
right here. That hurt really bad. Yeah, you get it. With what?
Something that pops thing. Use a pair of pliers. Use a pair of pliers.
No, just
Use like a really greasy, old, rusty pair.
like a barbed wire.
Just
You
keep,
gotta
just
get
keep
tetanus shot after that.
going at it with a pair of pliers. You'll be good.
Make sure it's tetanus.
Oh no.
Well, I got my tetanus shot, so I should be okay.
Yeah, sure. Sure. You won't get locked off.
Do you have a pair of pliers?
No, you want to find the bluntest pair of pliers you can. With
What's
no edges at all. You want to blunt. Maybe a spoon. Use a spoon.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, get
Butter
around.
knife?
No, butter knife is too sharp. Use a spoon.
Okay, this way.
Oh, no, that's too sharp.
Use your little.
Ooh, that's a good, yeah.
What the heck?
You want to use the bluntest thing you possibly can find. Okay.
Oh,
That's my advice. Okay. So we're gonna go over this some more tomorrow in class.
A bunch of jerks. You gotta have
Can you tell us what this fx thing is?
Tell me, like, what the
It's
equation-
whenever you see f of x, f with parentheses x, always replace it with y.
Daddy, what did we do in English today?
So whenever
So
you
it
see,
just equals y.
yep, whenever you see f parentheses x, replace it with y.
Probably good.
What did you do in English today?
Without doing anything, just replace it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. When it's written like that, f parentheses x means f of x,
All that will come out.
but it's the same thing as
Quiz thing?
y.
Okay.
Quiz thing yesterday?
Remember, I didn't know correct it. It was correct something.
Are you
Talk about
are you warning me about sunlight?
Oh no, I didn't
Yeah.
take that quiz yesterday because I
Is
wasn't
this to warn me about sunlight? This little message you gave me about UV. Is this about UV radiation from sunlight?
What's
I didn't put that on your desk. I didn't draw that.
Oh.
Lori did, and she's like, can I put this on his desk? I'm like, sure, go right ahead.
Okay. Are you trying to warn me about radiation from
I
sunlight?
didn't do it. I promise.
You want to make sure I have the same picture?
She wrote it.
I did not. My handwriting is way nicer than that.
Not when it's giant. Nobody's handwriting is nice when it's giant.
Mine is. Mine's gorgeous.
Okay, mine's pretty good.
What is your
Yeah.
What is that?
Don't